Hello YouTube! Hello Guild Wars 2 fans, Samtastic here. Today, I want to talk about something from the heart. You might be aware that this week we'll be seeing a new massive content rollout from the Guild Wars 2 live team, Lost Shores! Furthermore, you may be aware that part of this update includes the introduction of a new rank of item quality, Ascended. If you follow the game's development as closely as I do, then you're also quite aware of just how well received this news happened to be. Almost immediately, the Guild Wars 2 subreddit and the official wiki were flooded with fear-filled rage. Just as quickly, a horde rushed to defend the change, claiming that everyone was just getting upset about nothing, that we were jumping to unfounded conclusions. Now, I'm not going to say that there wasn't a substantial amount of overreaction, but there's definitely reason for concern. For a bit of background, on November 12th, 4 days before the update goes live, ArenaNet posted links to articles from Massively and MMORPG.com reporting on the fairly exclusive sneak peek opportunity. I read them both, despite the fact that they had about as many differences between them as a Carver and a Fallen. Everything sounded great. New monsters, new story, new zone to explore. Oh, and a new type of gear, which will be massively put in quotes, slightly more powerful than exotics. Shortly thereafter, ArenaNet themselves posted an official press release which really did nothing to dispel fears. Let's take a moment to talk about what this means and why there was such an enormous negative reaction. Exotic gear in Guild Wars 2 has the best stats, and should be, or dare I say is, obtainable by the casual gamer. Legendary gear, though far more difficult to obtain, is better only aesthetically. This isn't a new concept, it's actually one of the things that made the original Guild Wars such a great game. In Guild Wars, you could get your max armor rating very easily, but there were much more difficult to obtain prestige armor sets. To get Primeval armor, for instance, you had to beat the Nightfall campaign as well as pay 15 times as much. To get Obsidian armor, you had to beat the depression of losing your friends and families. You spent every waking hour farming UW and Fissure of Woe for the Ectos and Shards. Was this armor better? No! Why did I get Obsidian armor then? Because I loved the game, I had the Hall of Monuments fever, and I liked the idea of having a cloaking device for my hip. I played Guild Wars over 5,000 hours. I played my Dervish, just my Dervish, over 3,000, and not once did I think to myself, boy, I wish there were better gear to get so I could be forced into repeating dungeons. You hit level 20, you save up the 6k for your 70 armor rating, some Corsair drops a 9 to 41 scythe, and you're done. That's it. You got max gear. Now you can spend the next few years collecting skills you're never going to use, going for the 10,000 point diabetes title, raging about bots and Jade Quarry, standing around in TOA spamming perma, LFG, UWFC, have cons, whatever you want, because the gear grind is over. If you already spent 600,000 karma on your exotic set in Guild Wars 2, then this announcement is disheartening, because the gear grind is not over. We've been assured now that legendary items will be automatically scaled up to Ascended stats, but the casual gamer does not have legendary gear, and probably never will. So why is ArenaNet doing this then? Well, according to Lindsay Murdoch, it's because the, quote, most dedicated players were achieving their set of exotic gear and hitting the legendary wall. That, quote, adding item progression is a delicate process normally undertaken in an expansion, but we feel it's important to strive to satisfy the basic needs of our players sooner rather than later. Okay, stop. The most dedicated players? Adding item progression? Basic needs? Am I reading this right? So the best way to address the basic needs of the players is to make sure that the most hardcore WoW-trained gear addicts get better stuff than everyone else? This doesn't even address hitting the legendary wall, a barrier that is meaningless to casual players. The primary thing this does is increase the disparity between the casual and the hardcore gamers. Even if we weren't getting Ascended gear now, it sounds like we can expect it during expansions. This is just an artifact of the pay-to-play model, and it's long been the single largest complaint that I've heard about World of Warcraft, significantly more so than subscription fees, so I just don't understand why it's being made a part of Guild Wars 2. If people are running out of things to grind for, why are we seeing stat changes first? Why not, I don't know, make titles more obvious and visible? It's no small feat to buy up 5 full sets of Tier 3 cultural armor, yet nobody will even notice that you're the Emperor. Why not provide unique emotes that are unlocked by hoarding achievement points? Why not make new, even harder to obtain legendary items that still have the same stats? Now, I've seen a lot of people saying that this is a negligible increase, that everyone's freaking out about nothing, but this is exactly what the Gear Treadmill looks like. We're not freaking out about nothing, we're freaking out because the fundamental philosophy that was described to us during development, that got us all on board in the first place, that Guild Wars 2 will be a content-driven, skill-based, grind-free experience, is being altered. There's a reason I didn't play WoW or Aeon, and I really don't want there to be a reason that I don't play Guild Wars 2. Now, To be fair, Murdoch also mentions that as new high-level content is deployed, that we will be giving complimentary Ascended and Legendary gear just to ensure that this freshly added armor tier is immediately devalued. I will give it a chance, of course, but I think the developers should have let us know about this one before they decided to put it in the game. I'm sure I can get over this once, but please, ArenaNet, don't make this the standard for content updates. In related news, if you're watching this before the 16th, I still have all 3 of my guest invites for the weekend, so send me a message if you want one. No, really, it's an amazing game. Seriously, it's really, really good. You should try it out. Anyway, thanks for watching. You will see me later.